to have all of you with us. We have people from different parts of the world. At an appropriate time, I shall do the introduction so that all of us are connected well to each other. On behalf of UFTAA, United Federation of Travel Agents Association, I have great pleasure welcoming you to this most fascinating event of UFTAA, which is held year after year. The last year we had this event in Colombo, Sri Lanka. It was on the 31st August and the 1st of September. And what a coincidence, Trevor, we have it on the same day here today. In the earlier year, we had it in a wonderful place. It was Salerno in Italy. That was again in the month of August. And we had a lot of delegates from all over the world. And here we are today, despite the fact that we are not able to physically meet, but UFTAA Media Forum being an educational initiative where our members learn from best practices adopted by the other associations. I think this would be a rewarding experience with so many speakers. Please allow me to start off with the presentation. And during this presentation, I would also look forward to some of you getting ready to do your own presentations. The housekeeping announcements are that if you have sent me your presentation, please let us know whether you want to run your own presentation or you want me to upload it as a sharing of the file. But if you're doing it yourself, fine, we'll make you a co-host. That's perfectly all right. The other thing is we have started at 11 o'clock CET time, and we hope to conclude by 13 or maybe 13:10. 5-10 minutes is what we would definitely close it by 13:15. And my request to all the speakers is please restrict your presentation from 5 to 8 minutes, because we have speakers from all over the world, from Americas, from Europe, from Asia, from South Asia, from Middle East, everywhere, from Africa. So you will see speakers coming from different parts of the world. Okay, I hope all of you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes.
Well, my dear friends, welcome to the UFTAA Media Forum with a theme, Restructuring Business Approaches. We at UFTAA, when we discussed about the subject, our board members felt that every association in the world has made certain initiatives supporting their membership for the post-COVID period. And we felt this would be very apt at this point of time because we can learn from one another. So welcome to this most outstanding presentations that will be delivered by different presidents or association leaders from all over the world. UFTAA, about UFTAA. UFTAA started off in 1966. We had a fantastic Golden Jubilee celebrated at Istanbul in 2016. UFTAA is actively associated with over 65 countries. Predominantly, we are a federation of travel and tourism associations. Our focus is on air matters, on tourism, and on education. UFTAA and IATA have a long relationship. Many of you are aware about the popular IATA UFTAA diploma, which was for a long time the qualifying requirement for a travel agency to become IATA accredited. Now that the entire format of education in IATA has changed, that's why UFTAA has added to our focus education, and we are creating a team of leaders from all over the world to build a new curriculum to keep our education initiative relevant. UFTAA is on IATA's PAPGJC. The full form of PAPGJC is Passenger Agency Program, Global Joint Council. We have 4 seats there, and it's regular debates with IATA and the airlines. On one side, it's the airlines. On the other side, it's the travel associations. And the whole thing is chaired by a neutral leader appointed by IATA. So we have IATA agents and airlines seated on PAPGJC, which normally meets 3 times a year, 2 times during the year, and the third time a day before the PA conference. Of course, of late, this has changed after the virtual PAPGJC meetings have started. Now we are meeting every week. UFTAA is always present at the IATA AGM. We are invitees as chief delegate. And very delighted to share with you that at the IATA AGM, it's a fantastic learning experience. The entire industry perspective is presented by the airlines. And IATA AGM last year was held in Seoul. The year before it was in Australia. And this year, I think it'll be in Amsterdam sometime in the month of November. At the PA conference, which is an event of all the airlines of the world where they decide on governing resolutions, there is an open forum between the airlines and the association representatives. The reason for this is before they go for voting, if at all there are any points that we can bring to their notice and request them not to approve a particular resolution, well, at least they hear us. I can't guarantee that they would listen to us and fail their resolution, but at least you're heard. And in most occasions, we found that when we were very genuine with our representation, there is some kind of a lenience, and sometimes matters are also deferred. We have an outstanding global tourism office. It's worth a visit. Unfortunately, this year, none of us have visited that place due to COVID. It's given to us by Toursab. It's a 2-floor building, an independent unit outside the Toursab complex in Turkey. And it's very well furnished. And we are very eager once COVID is done, our global tourism office would launch the UFTAA tourism platform, networking platform. UFTAA is actively partners with global exhibitions. We've had an exhibition in Italy last year. We've also had in this year, we had an exhibition in India, Sate. We had an exhibition, ITB Asia in Singapore. We are partners with ITB Asia. Israel Mediterranean Tourism Mart is held in Israel. We are partners with them. World Tourism Exchange in China and many other global exhibition organizers. So UFTAA partners with them, and we give this opportunity to our members to attend these exhibitions. UFTAA is also the partner with WATA. WATA is World Association of Travel Agents. It's a GSA organization, a very senior organization. I think they are in their 60th year now. And it's an organization where the large GSAs, the big ones from every country are members. And the purpose of UFTAA partnering with WATA was to take our tourism platform forward. So we would very soon realize our connect with WATA for the benefit of our members. UFTAA partners actively with .travel. DOT is also .com, .travel, right? So Donuts Incorporation is an organization in the US, and UFTAA is their partner. Any travel agency member of any of the associations of UFTAA, when they go to .travel and buy a domain extension, they get it at a much cheaper price than available in the market. It's a huge saving. So we are involved with this marketing program of Donuts Incorporation. And when you log on to our website, you will find a link where you can very easily log in and get a domain extension. The market price is $99, but when you go through UFTAA, it's only $33 or $39. UFTAA congresses and forums are held annually. This year, we couldn't have our congress because of the COVID, but we are looking at some time before March for sure. Hopefully, the situation would be done by then, and then we could physically meet up at some place. Our proposed destination last year for this year's Congress was Dubai, and we would like to continue to pursue Dubai as our venue. We have an MOU with SCOL International, and we encourage all UFTAA members to join SCOL. We have a friendly agreement with SCOL. Ms. Levon, who was the president of SCOL, had attended the Travel Agents Association convention, of which I was then the president in November 2018. And that's when we had signed this agreement. Ever since, UFTAA has been regularly promoting our members to be a part of SCOL International. We also have an MOU with several tourism organizations, and that continues. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point of time, I would like to welcome our board of directors and introduce them to all of you. I am the president currently, and I come from India. We have a vice president, Jyothi from Israel. Can we spotlight you, Jyothi? Jyothi from Israel.
No, cannot be because you are presenting now a presentation.
Okay. We have our Vice President Finance, Trevor Rajaratnam from Sri Lanka. We have our Vice President Tourism, Setin Gursun from Turkey. We have Joe Olivier Bog, immediate past President and Director of UFTA from Malta. Varsha Ramcharan is our Director and she comes from Mauritius. Mohammed Vanyoiki is our Director and he comes from Kenya. Adriana Maiori is our Director and she comes from Italy. William De Sosa is our Director. He is predominantly in Canada, but sometimes in India as well. But he runs his business from Canada too. We have Zhang Lijun, Director China. You see a number of representatives of CATS who are participating here. And he's our Director from China. And we have Richard Lohento, who represents not just Benin, but the entire Central Western Africa, the entire region of Central Western Africa, the French Africa as we call it. And we have a director from there. So we have 11 countries involved with our board, and this is for the benefit of our members. My dear friends, COVID-19 has been a ghastly happening for travel and tourism industry. It has caused never before crisis to our industry. Travel agencies and tour operators, airlines, tourism organizations, and countries depending on tourism are reeling under extreme pressure with huge financial challenges. UFTA's role with IATA and airlines in bridging the gap between the crisis and the relief has been continuous during the last 4 months. UFTA actively engaged to support associations and agencies through continuous dialogues with IATA and the airlines. UFTA acknowledges the roles played by our associations in duly representing the travel agents community. We are in receipt of several reports from large associations, particularly associations like TourSab, like Thai, like PTA in Philippines, NATAS in Singapore, and of course, even the associations in Africa. Well, they have been regularly communicating to UFTA board about the initiatives they've taken, and whatever educational articles they published, we have uploaded it on our website, www.ufta.org. These articles were contributed by TourSab Turkey, Thai India, IITOA Israel, VVR Belgium, and CATS China. What has been the role of UFTA during the COVID? I must say our role has been consistent. We were on regular debates with IATA. In the initial days of lockdown, a number of associations could not make payments on time because there was lockdown and they had to pay money to IATA and the businesses were closed. UFTA successfully campaigned and got the extension of payment dates for several associations all over the world. Today, we have weekly PAPGJC meetings for the last 3 months. Meeting once in 3 months would not address our situations. There could be an emergency with any association in the world. And every Wednesday, every Thursday, we have the PAP weekly meetings, but we need to submit the agenda and our proposal by Monday, which gets debated. And on several occasions, we've got matters considered. UFTA debates, be it GDS refunds disconnect or refunds, flexible vouchers. Well, these are areas where UFTA has been consistently active. Airlines were initially wanting to give vouchers favoring the passengers, but UFTA fought a battle to make it flexible and allow them to be given to agencies. So most airlines are now giving flexible vouchers, except a few airlines, which continue to insist on vouchers favoring the passengers. Refunds via the BSP link basic. Well, this was an area that we've been actively associated since April this year, because the moment the GDS disconnect took place, our members were not able to submit refunds. So we successfully got IATA, and we've got a letter from them confirming that due to our pushing it forward, they have extended the opportunity for BSP link basic version who do not have the refund facility via the BSP link to now submit refunds. And this has been extended from time to time. We also acknowledge the role of Thai, who played a very important role in India, and they have been pursuing it simultaneously to make sure that none of their agencies are affected. Reconnecting the disconnected was another program of UFTA. We've received several representations from travel agents saying due to COVID, they were not able to make the payments and IATA had disconnected them. We got them reconnected. Of course, that was post their payment of the dues, and that reconnection makes it very, very complimentary for stakeholders to remain in business. A number of regions did not do their APJC meetings, and I'm glad that through UFTA, we could take up their matters, and now we have several regions doing their APJC meetings. We have supported association representations from time to time. Many associations have been sending representations, and we have been filing with IATA on those representations and continue to debate. The last two representations have come from Kenya and one from Nepal, and we are still working on both these representations. Just a few days ago, we see a new representation that has come to us, and we shall be taking it forward during the Thursday meeting, and that is from Pakistan. Way forward, UFTA stand is that airlines and agencies should not owe monies to one another. UFTA is fully cognizant of the fact that a number of agencies were put to a challenge because the airlines refused to make refunds. And now with the revamping of the new governing resolutions, this becomes a priority area for UFTA. I must compliment our Vice President heading Air Matters and IATA Matters, Mr. Jyothi Patel, whom you will very soon hear. And he has played a major role in ensuring that these governing resolutions, which are getting revamped, have the content in order to protect the travel agents from such disasters in future. UFTA's active participation in various committees. There are a number of committees that are formed to revamp the governing resolution. One of them is the Agency Risk Management Committee. We have our representatives from Philippines and representatives from Turkey joining this committee. And now at the PAPGJC level, we continue to discuss on it. Agency Risk Management Program is based upon, has created the document that is ready for the PA conference voting. And it's based on the fact that 1.2% agents in the world, which, with a business of more than $5 million per sales period, it could be a week or a fortnight, account for 44% of cash sales. I repeat, 1.2% agents account for 44% of cash sales and historically accounted for 93% of industry losses. These are primarily, as some of in our markets, we call them wholesalers, we call them consolidators, or we call them whatever. Well, in certain parts of the world, particularly we are aware of what happened in Greece and what happened in UK. So this has come because of them. And now they would be close monitoring because 93% of the industry losses, for which all of us are made to pay a heavy insurance. Well, I think that's something that IATA has taken up. There's a serious deliberation that are currently on this committee. I would like to acknowledge both Richie and my friend Numan, who've been very active with discussions. Every week there's a meeting and they have to spare tons of time. All of you are aware of a program called TAC. It's the Travel Agents Commissioner Program. UFTA is actively committed to the TAC program. For those who are not aware of TAC, where it is like an adjudicating body, when there is a dispute between the agency and the airline, before you decide to go to the court, you can seek a relief from the TAC. Currently, we have 3 TACs. Veronica for the Americas, she's stationed at Toronto. Andrea Corosi, who's in charge of the entire European agents. And then we have Joe Foggett from New Zealand, who looks after the Asia and Pacific. So all this entire TAC program, well, is being revamped in the sense UFTA is actively committed to this program and is amongst the 2 stakeholders in the world, along with IATA, who are finalizing after interviewing several applicants, the appointment of travel agency commissioners for the world. So we will soon be making new appointments. It could be some of the old ones may continue. It could be that we would have new travel agency commissioners. The current tenure of travel agency commissioners conclude with the beginning of 2021. So you would find a replacement of the travel agency commissioners of the past with the travel agency commissioners of the future. And I'm so thrilled to share with our members that UFTA is playing a prominent role along with IATA to make sure that we continue on this subject. Well, the way forward, restructuring business approaches, the hand-holding role associations can play is to equip their members with strategies that will help them revive from the COVID impact. Countries across the world have different plans drawn up. Awareness of strategies and networking can help others to consider such new approaches. While some countries have directly supported the stakeholders financially, governments have given a lot of allowances to a number of stakeholders in different countries. Some countries have received no help at all. So it therefore becomes important for the associations to guide the revival and promote new approaches. I would like to thank all the speakers who've come in today and who would soon be sharing with us the various aspects of how we believe we can help our members in the post-COVID era. Restructuring business approaches, well, let's learn from the situations that are prevalent in other countries and the roles associations are involved with. Some trends that are seen currently are, there are more passengers ready to travel. International regulations on overseas travel is now relaxed. Tourism is opening up selectively. Online presence more important than ever before. If travel agents and tour operators are not online, I think they would be very far behind. And due to the current scenario, online presence has become a must. We are spotlighting on opportunities based on countries or regions estimates. So those opportunities also will soon be shared. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the curtain riser for all of you, to have presented to you about UFTAA, to have also presented to you about the manner in which we would take this forum forward. And I must share with you the schedule now. After the welcome and curtain riser, we would have trends presented by Vice President Yossi Patel from Israel, and that would be followed by presentations by association leaders. So Yossi, may I request you to please come in and commence your presentation on the UFTAA trends. But before that, Yossi, allow me to quickly introduce a large list of delegates we have. In addition to the board members, I see here from the screen, starting with Gustave Garcia. He is from Cuba. Welcome, Gustave. Then we have Juan Carlos Arnau. He's from Mexico. We have Constantine Panusi. He's from Europe and represents the SCOL International. We have a very popular president of Actual, Armando Borex Petron. He's from Mexico. Thank you, Armando, for coming in. We have a board member of SCOL International, Mr. Vijay Mohan Raj, who has earlier coordinated and held, along with Constantine, an interaction between the SCOL leaders and UFTAA leaders. We have Ashok Harkara, who supports our administration extensively. We have Agnes Mucha, she's the CEO from Kenya. We have David Bernthal again from SCOL International Board. We have Maria from SCOL International, she's from Bermuda, I'm sorry. Then we have from Turkey, we have Tatil Bahesi. We have Madhusudan Acharya from Nepal. We have Jordi Castello. Jordi Castello is from Spain. He speaks Spanish, French, English, several languages. And once COVID is done, Jordi Castello will be playing a very important role in the administration and marketing and taking UFTAA forward to a lot of countries. So he would be a very important liaison between countries and UFTAA. We have Mr. Wilhelm Brown, a past president of ASL, that is in Sri Lanka. We have Sampath Kumar, who is a member of, who's been a member of the Travel Agents Federation of India. Another person who keeps guiding us, writing to us on concerns regarding IATA, and we take a lot of cues from his suggestions. We have a very outstanding leader, Jyoti Mayala, president of the Travel Agents Association of India. We have Bursin, she's a board member of the international board member of the SCOL International. Thank you, Bursin, for joining us. We have Antonio Persario, again, he's from Actual from Latin America. We have Chane, he's the president of the TAASL Sri Lanka. Thank you, Chane, for joining us. We have Fatih, who comes from, Fatih, I'm not too sure. from Turkey, Fatih from Turkey. We have Mohammed Vanyoki, he's the president of the Kenyan Association of Travel Agents. Thank you, Mohammed. We have Fonseca. We have Bella Maria Marianne. We have Tony from FATA. FATA is a very popular association, and we are glad to have from Malta in Europe, Tony. We have Alex Jacob, who's a specialist in technology, and he's supporting our technology as well, a member of UFTA. Our immediate past president have already introduced him to you. Mr. Mustafa Kateu is the president of the Tanzanian Association of Travel Agents. And along with him, we have from Tanzania, James Masera. We have Setin Burson, of course, I've introduced him to you. We have Susan Akaporia. She's the president of Travel Agents of Nigeria. I must mention that Toursab is one of our largest members. They have 12,000 travel agencies who are members of UFTA. Then we have Nigeria, which is on number 2. Nigeria has 5,000 plus travel agents as members of NANTAS, and they are part of UFTA. Then the third one is Travel Agents Association of India. We have about 3,000 agents who are members of Travel Agents Association of UFTA of India, and UFTA has Travel Agents Association. That's my parent association, and I feel delighted to be representing them here. So these 3 associations are number 1, number 2, number 3. And between 3 of them, we have 20,000 travel agencies as members. Now imagine when we put the entire membership of all our associations in 65 countries together, it's a very, very large number we have in UFTA. Then we, of course, we also have, I'm trying to see if I can identify, Olufemi is from Central West Africa. Thank you very much. We have representatives of Travel Agents Association here, Jay Bhatia, Vice President, Betaya Lokesh, the Secretary General, and Sriram, the Treasurer. We have, as I move on, I see that we also have with us a lot of leaders from CATS. CATS is a very large association in China. There are 2,000 travel agencies who are members of CATS. It's called China Association of Travel Services. I also recognize the presence of the president of the Philippine Travel Association, and he is Richie Tuano. We have from NATA Singapore, we also have their chief executive officer present with us. Well, then these are some of the names I can see right away, gentlemen. We have Gulberg from Turkey, who will be making the president. I've talked about Charles, the CEO. We also have with us from Belgium, Brussels, Koen van den Gouw. He's the CEO of the Travel Agents Association. From SCOL, we have Daniela. She's very actively involved in managing SCOL International globally. And of course, I also see a lot of members of different association leaders. So we will continue with our introductions as we move forward. Thank you very much. I now invite Vice President Jyothi Patel to make a presentation. Over to you, Jyothi.
Yeah, please just stop the screen, okay. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Sunil gave me 12 minutes, but I will speak for the next 45, as you know. No, I'll do it quickly. We just in topics to give you some of what is going in our heads and thoughts. Welcome. Seeing the number of participants is really encouraging and show the place and role of UFTA in the travel industry. So the topics I'm going to run with the next 10 minutes are, of course, the aviation, airlines, and IATA. Relevant trends to us travel agents and tour operators, and some recommendation for the way forward. I'm not going into details and high resolution of the subject. In 10 minutes, I just can throw some thoughts and topics, and we'll take it forward in other meetings that we will hold in the coming future. One of the big issues that we are all concerned, try to understand is what is happening with the airlines, the aviation, and IATA. What is the situation actually there? Well, to begin with, this is the most severe crisis since the beginning of commercial flights 100 years ago. I mean, we have to understand the size of this crisis, the size of what is going to happen. So it's not something that will take another few months or half a year or 1 year and we will come back to normal. Only in the last week, 50,000 jobs have been cut by airlines around the world, mainly, by the way, the Americans. And everybody agree that the worst is yet to come. Actually, the world is not functioning in the aviation sector like we knew it before. And once the world will be open, we will be able to see the size of this crisis and the implication of the economy. Of course, concern about new waves of infections, which is happening all over the world now, it's a big concern. But on the other hand, I must mention, this is like a typical behavior of pandemic. You have the first wave, people are going to quarantine, you have less people ill, and then they are going out, and then you have the second wave, and sometimes the third. So it's happening, of course, all over, and this is a big challenge for the airlines for sure. One of the issues for the airlines in the aviation industry is governments. Legislation. I mean, they are imposing closures and they are restricting movement between countries. And for airlines and our industry, governments are running the show, and we all think the same about governments. As far for the aviation and airlines, I mean, we know that airlines using the yield management systems that help them to price the seats on the plane, they need to have some certainty. They are using big data, they are using statistics. And right now, all this infrastructure of their business model is not there. There is only uncertainty with the numbers, meaning, and we know how the yield management, the computerized system, is actually running the airline business. And this system right now actually not functioning. And it's create not less than a chaos and a big challenge to everybody. Airlines now need to manage capacity changes from 0 to 70% from now to tomorrow. And we all know that in the last decade, they educate the market to reserve way ahead if you want to have a good price. And all these fundamental basics are gone. The demands are from now to now. It's a challenge for us, but we are talking now about the airlines. But when you are thinking about their yield management systems and the way they are planning their equipment, so on and so forth, and you know that all the demands are from now to now, it's a big challenge. It's a situation that the only way they are coping with it now, it's because there are not much movement around the world. They are relying on mathematical prediction for long term, and we don't have the long term. One big issue, which is supposed to be one huge opportunity for us, is the customers, the crisis in customers' trust. I mean, they lost our trust as well, but the crisis of customers' trust it's a major issue that we need to think of. Of course, the low-cost airlines also have problems because they are flying only short distances, and more people are preferred to go by car. So they have their own challenge. IATA. Well, let me say this. I think the whole relationship, the passenger agency program agreement, everything need to be restructured, is questionable. I don't think we should agree that what was before the crisis will be the same with some fixes and some enhancement. This is not the case. I think we should change the agreement, which was not changed for the last 60 years, I think. And a new agreement should be signed globally. The principal agent relationship, which are right now the basic for the whole relationship we are managing with the airlines, should be changed for agreement between two business entities who are also competing each other. And Sunil mentioned the issue of money. I think the same, by the way. Should be a zero game where we don't owe them anything, they don't owe us anything, with one change in my mind, and this is should come from the customer side. We should pay only a few days before the flight. The situation right now, and this crisis prove it, that actually the customers and agents were banks that gave money to the airlines. And they actually manage their business from credit that the market gave them months ahead. And when the time came, they couldn't facilitate their obligation and payback. And as you know, I think they owe the markets and customers something like $35 billion US, and we all know they cannot pay it in the near future. So taking into consideration all these aspects and actually asking ourselves, how can this restructure system can co-op with the same situation that the Corona, the COVID-19 brought to us, should be built in the future. I can speak another 1 hour on this, but I think we should at least start in UFTAA to ask questions and to lead a global discussion of the new structure for relationship between customers, agents, airlines, by the way, and government. So this is only in, now some of the main trends that are relevant to us. There are many articles and opinions out there. I will show example for the issue of the direct marketing. I mean, we as agents used to complain about direct marketing. The direct marketing is coming big to the markets because everybody is gonna fight to survive, and don't expect the airlines to be nice to us or to anybody. They are cutting in everything, so they will cut for any distribution costs they have right now. And we are, as you know, the main arm for distribution. Wow, I almost start dancing. The habits of customers. I mean, we know it's going to change, but don't give the customers and the human DNA too much credit. We see what is happening between the waves of infection, how people are coming back to the street, sitting together. We see what happened in the airline industry. I mean, everybody is talking about like, it's going to be a huge revolution, but right now, in the highest point of this crisis, airlines are putting the passengers exactly in the same way. The only change is actually that you need to wear a mask. You should not move around the plane, and the food that you get is like in low-cost carrier, okay? This is the whole, if you want to wrap all the changes the airline actually did or are doing to prevent infection, not much has changed. Safety and certainty is the new currency. This is the new source for our income. Working from home, I mean, for travel agents, it's a big issue that we need to see how we change our business model and use it more. Online, Sunil mentioned it, video, picture, images, something we are very, very behind. I cannot even start to emphasize how huge is the gap we need to close. And the main thing that I think we should think of, and it's not the COVID-19, the global recession. This is the worst in our lifetime, is here to stay for at least 4 to 5 years. How do we manage our business when the surrounding is a global recession everywhere? So this is in general. When I'm talking about direct marketing, only one example from the last week, Nike. Nike is about to stop sales via all these brands, online brands, by the way. They want to take control of their future and the way they are distributing the products. And they actually, if you want to have a lesson about how the direct marketing is going to influence the way business is going to be made, it may take the example of Nike. Hotels already mentioning it. If you are reading the international papers and interviews with manager of big network chains of hotels, they are all talking about direct marketing. They need this extra 5, 10, 15% that they are paying the agents, and they want to control the product. So it's in red. By the way, Nike put it in red this week, but it's also a red light for us to be aware. Way forward, only few recommendations. This is my last slide. So far, I think many of us are still waiting, not really changing something. We are waiting for the wave to be over, and then we'll go back to our offices and start slowly to come back to normality. The new normal is not the one that we know. I mean, something will change for sure. Is the size of changes that you can recognize are happening also in your business? This is a huge question we need to ask ourselves. We need to do each and every day some small or part of changes. Otherwise, we will not be relevant. The number one priority is redefining our added value to the customer. I mean, really sitting between ourselves, not declaring, not using some used declaration we usually use. What is the new and the added value we can charge for? Price and reservation is not relevant anymore. And I mean, it's obvious to who everybody wants to link to the reality. Again, I've talked of working from home. We need to think how we are freeing many of the real estate we are holding or paying for. In general, it will be fair to say that we're going to see probably in the next couple of years more freelancers than agencies. And it's also should redefine the relationship between us and our employees. The customer journey, the pre, during, and after is the new infrastructure for our business model. I mean, if we agree that the price and the reservation is less relevant, we need to find new ways to manage and collect money from customers throughout the whole journey. Again, when we are defining the new business model, how can we manage our agency without competing with the direct marketing from the suppliers? It's the $1 million questions. Plan for few years of global recession. I mean, we need to wake up. It's not going to be over in 1 year. We are not going to have the same incomes for the last 2 to 3 years. I mean, we need to sit each and everyone in his office. How long can I suffer losses or this small amount of incomes for the next 1, 2, or 3 years? As said, providing and collecting fees for safety and certainty. And the opportunity for us that customers do not believe the OTA like they used. They want to have an address. They want to be in a position that each and every minute they can call someone and run back home because something happened. They want to have somebody that will listen to them and help them if they need it, and maybe help them to manage or navigate around where they are staying, or send them some push notification, so on and so. In general, just saying that the customer's service is relationship. And we know how challenging and hard is it to manage relationship. We all know it from home with our wife and husbands. It's issue. The customers are, it's almost the same, even more complicated. Lastly, the association role. We are talking about the agencies, but we need to redefine the association role. In my opinion, it should be much more in the politics, in PR, in positioning the profession in the eye of the public, being voice of the customers, so on and so forth. Many presidents are here with us today. We're going to have a huge problem of collecting incomes from the members. The next wing probably we're going to grow is the affiliate program, not the agencies and association. We need to think about it as well. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. President. Sunil?
Thank you very much, Jyothi. That's been a presentation covering a lot of aspects, not only about IATA, but the trends that travel agencies must be on the lookout. Well, let's start off with our presentations by different association leaders for the benefit that they get a indication as to who's coming when. I have this slide coming up on the screen giving the details of the speakers. There have been some last moment changes with the replacement of speakers, but nevertheless, this is the order. We will start off with Mohammed Vanyoki, President of Qatar, followed by Gulberka Asyapar. Then we have Trevor from Sri Lanka. We have Jyoti from India. We have Richie from Philippines. We have Mustafa from Tanzania. We have Susan from Nigeria. We have Koen van den Bosch from Belgium. We have Mr. Charles Stan from Singapore. We have Armando, and Armando's coming up with a couple of his colleagues from different parts of Latin America to do a presentation. We have Gao Meng from China. We also have Tony from Malta in the other speakers. So they would be interacting, and once the presentations are over, then we will encourage an interactive session. The audience can ask questions to the speakers, so you could make some points as these presenters would be straight away connecting to you via their presentation. Requesting all the presenters to be very brief. Please be as per the schedule that's assigned to you, 5 to 8 minutes. And I see some of you have sent me the presentations, but Yossi will make you the co-host. And once you're the co-host, then you can put it up yourself. But if you need some support, do let us know. We will share the transfer.
I can make you as a co-host. You can present it for them. Just let's mention that we have right now 167 participants in the meeting.
Fantastic. That's a great number. 167 attendees from all over the world. Fantastic. Keep it up, Ufta. Continue to be as active. Mohammed Vanyoki, it's your turn now.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much, President Sunil, for arranging this virtual meeting. in Kenya, we are okay by and large.
Everybody, please
Businesses started to
mute
open
yourself.
as of August when the airways were open in Kenya. But business is very, very little. My presentation will be done by the CEO of Qatar, Agnes Moshuha. Agnes Moshuha, I hope you're on standby.
Yes,
Ready
Mr.
to present. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Wanyoike. So I'll proceed to quickly share the screen. Indeed, these are very unprecedented times where we are dealing with a lot of uncertainty. In the case of Kenya, we have, as an association, we have been working towards the creation of the livelihood of over 300,000 direct employees who work in the travel industry and more than 200,000.
Someone is.
A lot of
looks like somebody has two microphones.
I think you have to ask everybody to unmute, to mute their phones.
Yeah, it's someone from Turkey that says health something there. I'm muting, but he's coming back all the time.
Jyothi, can you mute everybody through your system and only give opening to Agnes, please?
Go ahead. Unmute yourself and speak, please.
Me? Okay.
Yeah, now we are okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll start again. In Kenya, the primary focus for the association has been the preservation of the livelihoods of more than 300,000 employees who are directly employed by the sector, and also preserving the businesses in the travel industry. We have over 200 IATA accredited agents, and we moved very swiftly into refocusing on the reskilling and upskilling of our employees in terms of building them up with new skill sets that will enable them to adapt to the COVID situation. A lot of focus and attention has gone into online training, social media training, and also customer behavior training, because we believe that with the resumption of travel, this will be the key pillars that will help us in the resumption of travel. Most of the employees have been working remotely. Kenya is a very digital economy. We presently have over 43% of Kenya's population being the youth, and most of them are highly educated to degree level. And for that reason, they are highly IT savvy. And because of that, most of the travel agencies' business continuity was managed remotely from home. As a mitigation on the financial management aspect, most employees went on pay cuts, and the founders of the travel agencies have been out without any pay. Again, this gave the travel agents an opportunity to right-size the organizations, again, based on the skill sets that are required post-COVID, and being driven highly by the customer needs and customer expectations. On the other front, in terms of policies, the Secretariat has been very busy trying to analyze all the operating policies and the operating framework for the travel agents within the Kenya market. We had to go through a process of trying to streamline the credit policy in the Kenyan market. Previously, we were operating on 30 to 60 days credit period, and the travel agents would fund the prolonged credit period using financial instruments from the banks. such as you know, overdraft accounts and also short-term loans. So we have streamlined this with our IATA remittance regulations, which is 0 to 15 days. And we must acknowledge that we received a lot of positive support from the government of Kenya through the Competition Authority Act, because they did endorse the streamlining of this policy, because it has a direct impact on the employees that we are trying to preserve livelihoods for, and also for purposes of safeguarding the travel agents' business framework. As far as airline refunds are concerned, this has been a real nightmare, especially at the onset, where refunds were disabled on the BSP link and also on the GDS. But by and by, we have seen a lot of flexibility being extended by major airlines. We have struggles with our own national carrier and also some of the regional carriers that are operating within the continent. Most of the refunds have not been paid up, and we do not have any indications as to when these are going to be turned around. Again, from a business preservation perspective, we got into negotiations at APJC level to review the local finance criteria for East Africa, with a view of putting in place a framework that will provide enhanced flexibility for the travel agents. Because remember, for the past 6 months, they have not been trading, and they have depleted their retained earnings. So we needed to find a framework of being able to recall back some of the capital that IATA has been holding as a security for trade. We did encounter a few roadblocks in the process, but through the intervention from UFTAA, this matter is still under discussion, and we are hoping that for the Kenyan market and also for the East African market, we shall be able to get a workable temporary LFC that will help to stimulate trade, and also help to the travel agents to get a release on the bank guarantees that they have put down with IATA, with a view of improving the liquidity position of these travel agents. As far as building customer confidence is concerned, we have, as Qatar, been running an aggressive campaign on our social media platforms that has been aimed at rebuilding traveler confidence. So we have provided, we continue to provide real-time updates on the changes in the travel policy as we receive them from either IATA or ICAO, and also from the various embassies that are presently operating in Kenya. We have also been highlighting testimonials from passengers who have had their travel into the various destinations that are covered from Point of Sale Kenya. And this has by and by helped to win a lot of trust and to rebuild that confidence from travelers, because now we can showcase the fact that it is safe for them to travel, and the right measures have been put in place to safeguard their safety. Engagement has been an ongoing activity. We have been very proactive with PR campaigns, press engagements with the local media, and to some extent some international media, telling the story of the travel agents, and also laying expectations in terms of what passengers should anticipate following the resumption of travel. We've been engaging on extensive trainings for our members, with a view of empowering them with new knowledge, new information, and new skill sets that will also help them to adapt to the uncertain world within which we're operating in. So this engagement has been through virtual platforms, and also through above the line platforms such as the newspapers and a lot of editorials that we circulate from time to time. In our engagement, we have also worked very closely with the airlines that are operating from Kenya, with a view of also entrenching a lot of knowledge and information in terms of some of the travel protocols that airlines have put in place, so that our travel agents can authoritatively and confidently give the right advisory to travelers as and when they approach them for advisory on their travel plans. Now, looking ahead, Kenya is a country that has laid a huge precedent. We made history in 2019 when our own Eliud Kipchoge Keino broke the world marathon record by running 42.2 kilometers in under 2 hours. We have our own Kenyan son, Barack Obama. He broke the world record as well by becoming the first African-American president for the US, the 44th president of the US, keeping the Kenyan flag running high. Kenya pioneered the innovation of the M-Pesa, which is a mobile payments transaction platform that has been redefining and repositioning the financial sector in the country. And with all this, what I'm alluding to is that Kenya is a very resilient country. We have embraced the mindset of agility, speed, and we have embraced a lot of digital transformation. So we've become more data-centric in our approach to business. We are studying the numbers as they evolve so that we can connect with the changes in the customer trends and patterns. M-Pesa as a payment platform is backed up by AI. So through through the M-Pesa reports that are circulated and published by Safaricom, which is a holding company, we've been able to keep in tabs with the changes in consumer behavior, how they are prioritizing the spend on their wallet. So this again is an active aspect, and we believe that no human is limited. It is time for transformation. It is time for us to adapt. And we believe that the current generation in Kenya will continue to drive this change, and we should be able to realize numerous opportunities that are backed by data, technology, and research. And as in closing, we do have a bucket list for UFTAA. I know, Joseph, you alluded to some of the changes that will be happening in the passenger sales agreement. Some of the key elements that we would want to see, and this is borrowed from lessons that we have picked up from COVID, is that we need an insolvency protection assurance for all the tickets that are sold on the BSP system. This, the anguish that the travel agents have gone through and are continuing to endure because of delayed refunds should be a thing of the past, and we strongly believe that this can be addressed through an assurance program that safeguards advance purchase tickets, so that in the event that an airline becomes insolvent, then the travel agent is not also compromised. Secondly, we want to see an equitable recognition of travel agents and airlines. We know that IATA exists for the primary reason of, forging forward with the interests of the airlines. But we believe that travel agents are the ones who are funding the travel that is then flown by the airlines. They're the ones who are carrying the biggest financial risk. And for this reason, we need a 50-50 participation and hearing. So if IATA as a business model does not give us this framework, then this is the time for change. And we are advocating for a new IATA, a repositioned IATA that recognizes travel agents as equal partners as well as the airlines. Again, we need a very strong collaboration from IATA. The rules of the past will not see us in this future of technology. The shift has already happened. We're in a world that is being driven by consumer behavior, by data, and by research. So the policies and the resolutions of IATA are not conducive for the growth and the resumption of travel. So there must be significant changes to some of the frameworks and the resolutions, and also the pillars of IATA, so that they can be aligned for growth and for the technology age. And in our final ask is that Africa is the second largest, most populous continent in the world after Asia. 43% of our population is the youth. And the median age for the African youth is 20 years. So when you look at the future is actually Africa. When you look at growth rate will only be happening in Africa to a large extent, because if the median age for the youth is 20, that means they're in their productive age. And that means Africa's population will continue to grow exponentially. So for us to tap into the talent that is available in Africa, IATA needs to provide free training to the Kenyan youth, so that we can be empowered with the right knowledge, the right skill sets, and also get a share of the best practices and experiences that IATA has built up over time, so that we tap into the intellectual capacity that will also help us to leapfrog the travel industry into recovery. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention, and karibuni Kenya. Welcome to Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Agnes. You have touched a lot of points in your presentation, and some of your points on the agencies and airlines in terms of financials. We at UFTAA are equally concerned about it, and that is our current subject. Like I and Jyothi mentioned, we do not desire agents to have this plight once again at any point of time for any disaster. Can you please get back from your screen share, since as long as your screen share is active, we won't have the next speaker to do it. On your training of youth in Africa, Agnes and Kata, please take an initiative there. We will be happy to coordinate with IATA and UFTAA, IATA and Kenya. And Kata can certainly take this program forward. Education is an important priority for UFTAA, and we will be happy to partner with you and take this matter to IATA. Thank you very much. I would now invite Gulberg from Tursap, Turkey, and she would come with a presentation. Once again, requesting the speakers, please limit your presentation to the time that's assigned to you. We have a number of speakers, but our time is limited. So do not deprive the other speakers from making a presentation and the interaction thereafter. Would appreciate you to be very, very timed, and now it's over to you, Gulberg. Jyothi, Gulberg can be made the co-host.
Okay. Hello, do you hear me now?
Yeah, Gulberg. How are you, Gulberg?
Thank you. How are you? Hello, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
So distinguished members, dear guests, my name is Gulberg. I know most of the members of UFTAA, but let me introduce myself again. I'm the Director of Strategic Planning, Coordination and Marketing at Tursap, and I'll be presenting you briefly about how we restructured business approaches facing the pandemic. So the coronavirus outbreak has started much earlier. However, it reached Turkey. The first case appeared in March, and it affected very negatively all our work routines, social lives, and our tourism sector, of course. From the very beginning of the outbreak, we established a coronavirus information platform on our website to keep our members posted of all latest information, of all important updates such as government decrees and circulars. We also set up a crisis management desk by the end of February, even before the first case was seen in Turkey. And we have consulted regularly with the Tourism Advisory Board members, which includes representatives of different institutions in the Turkish tourism sector, such as hoteliers, associations, federations, aviation association, etc. We've also prepared a very extensive coronavirus information booklet for our members, informing them of the virus and of all the precautions to be taken. Also, early in the pandemic process, we started a campaign with the title, "Don't Give Up on Your Holiday, Postpone It," for both Turkish and international customers. So this was a social media campaign that had a lot of appreciation. Our legal department worked very actively since the beginning of the pandemic with both our members and consumers as well, for informing them on their judicial rights and the processes to be followed. We also canceled all the membership fees for 2020. And we have taken initiatives and kept dialogue with the Ministry of Culture and Tourism and other relevant ministries to enable travel agencies to work from home. So they don't have to open their offices physically until the end of December. So we communicated all our requests regarding the pandemic with many institutions, with many government institutions, such as ministries, as you see, Culture and Tourism Ministry, Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Interior, Treasury and Finance, Ministry of Health, of course, as well as organizations such as Union of Chambers and Commodity, Turkish Airlines, we've kept close dialogue with. So in terms of loans, interest, and all financial aid provided to our members, there is now in place a short-term employment allowance, which enables all employees to work on a short-term basis. And part of the wages are covered by the government and part are covered by the institutions, the businesses. So this is covered by the Unemployment Insurance Fund. There is also an amnesty that's granted to credential records for companies that are facing problems with their check payments until the end of this year. Also in terms of tax payments, VAT and withholding tax declarations, there have been deferrals. There has also been check payments aid loan and economic stability shield loan aid as declared by the government, and these loan aids were provided over the loan guarantee fund. There are also loans that are available for companies that are making it back to business, for small size travel agencies for 50,000 Turkish liras with a 6 month grace period and 30 months repayment. As well as repayment loans made available by the Turkish Exim Bank. And there are very convenient repayment conditions on all these loans. And the current loan debts, the principals and the proceeds of companies that are active in tourism business have been postponed for 3 months. And further, regarding the actions taken for our members, we've kept very close dialogue with Turkish Airlines, and the following were provided. The churning and quota shortcomings were not to be penalized between March 1st and June 30th. No shows were not to be applied to tickets issued between March 19th, and flights not taken between 12th of March and 12th of April. And starting with the lifting of flight restrictions, tickets will be available to be turned to open status for use within 1 year. And further actions taken for our members by our association, we have communicated with relevant diplomatic missions and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to reimburse, to refund all the visa fees paid by our travel agencies. And in terms of tourism companies that are not able to pay their rent between this period, March 1st and June 30th, it was provided that the landlords cannot request the cancellation of rental contracts and they cannot evict the tenant as they normally could. There are also actions taken by TURSAP for consumer relations between the travel agencies. There are loans available for consumers. They can, receive these loans from their public banks up to 10,000 Turkish liras under suitable conditions, as you see. And the gathering of consumer arbitration committees were halted, which are in more detail briefly committees that settle problems between consumers and companies that are running businesses. We have kept a very close dialogue with our international counterparts, and UFTAA, of course, has been one of the leading organizations we kept close dialogue with. We made a call for solidarity in the beginning of the pandemic. We sent out letters. Mr. Sunil Kumar has one of them. We sent a call for solidarity that we are always open for dialogue, for collaboration, and whatever exchange of views you see necessary, we're always ready and at your disposal. We exchanged views with our international counterparts and diplomatic missions as well, embassies and consul generals that are based in Turkey. We invited our international counterpart associations for info visits to Turkey as soon as the travel restrictions are lifted, so that they can see in place all the precautions and measures that we are taking against the pandemic and how we're managing the new normal in Turkey. We prepared a very extensive and in-depth report about the pandemic and how the world, businesses, the tourism sector is going to look after the pandemic. The report was shared with primary organizations in the tourism industry like UNWTO, UFTAA, of course, ECTA, WTTC, as well as our international counterparts and diplomatic missions. And you can see here UNWTO has even put it on their website, shared it with affiliate members. And we carried out many media studies. Of course, media and having a good grip of PR is very important in managing such crises. So we had press coverage regarding our actions against the pandemic in national media and international media, as you see. And of course, our board has worked very, very actively and diligently in managing the period. The Tour Sub-Executive Board has held daily online meetings, evaluating all information, latest news, and how we can tackle the issues our members are facing. There were meetings with 35 regional representative boards that we have across Turkey, and sectoral representatives of other institutions were regularly contacted, and they held online meetings. And digitalization, even before the pandemic appeared, unfortunately, we had already started our undertakings, our enterprises about digitalization. How can we digitalize our members? And during this period, of course, our projects have gained momentum in this field. Online membership fee payments can now be made. Online travel agencies can be established. And there is also the service of e-signature for our members. So we have also carried out some sectoral survey studies during the pandemic. We conducted a survey among our members to see where they stand and what they foresee, their needs and expectations vis-a-vis the pandemic period. And we have also conducted a survey on the consumer side of the coin. So a research company has helped us in carrying out this project. And there were assessments made regarding the changing holiday habits and emerging trends in the tourism sector among the consumers. And our destination promotions are continuing in line with the new normal, abiding by all the necessary precautions and measures. In July, actually, we held an info visit in Kuşadası, in the western part of Turkey, among our regional representative boards. And just in 2 days, we're going to be holding a hybrid panel entitled New Era, New Perspectives. So our MICE activities are also resuming in line with the new normal. The panel will be held with the aim to reunite, to encourage and rejuvenate the MICE field, domestically and internationally. The panel will be, physically taking place, paying attention to all the social distancing rules and hygiene rules, but also there will be online participation. So it's going to be a hybrid panel. And the panel will host primary figures in Turkish tourism industry, travel agencies that focus specifically in my sector. Professors of medicine are also going to be there as keynote speakers. And there are going to be projections on the post-COVID status of the MICE sector. How will the MICE sector proceed after the pandemic? So we have also prepared a guidance, a very extensive guidance on preventive measures and recommendations for travel agencies on all the measures that need to be taken in guest relations, in offices, in headquarters. So this was a very in-depth booklet shared with all our members. We have also prepared a video to inform our members on the measures that they need to take in their transportation vehicles and all the transfer vehicles, all the measures that need to be followed. And I can share, this presentation and the link of the video with our participants if there are any requests. Thank you for inviting us to this meeting. It's been a pleasure meeting you again online and joining the Mid-Year Forum. And thank you for listening, and I'll be happy to answer any questions in the meantime. Thank you.
Thank you, Gulberg. We will come back to you with questions. That was a very outstanding PowerPoint that you have created. For the benefit of all our attendees, all our presentations will be uploaded on our website, www.uftaa.org, and you could download these presentations. Tour Sahib has been on the forefront and extremely active combating the challenges that COVID has posed to our industry, and we acknowledge their regular connect with UFTAA and their support to UFTAA from time to time. Moving on, the next on our list of speakers is Trevor from Sri Lanka. Trevor is also our Vice President Finance. Trevor from Sri Lanka. Trevor, I will have your presentation shared, and you could continue to be speaking to the delegates, please. Yes, Trevor, all yours.
Good afternoon, evening, morning to everyone who is on board. Just a little run through. I'm keeping an eye on the clock too, right? Sri Lanka, we closed our airport in mid-March and it still remains closed. It's almost 6 months gone by. We had almost 67 days of 24 by hours curfew where you couldn't even step out of your homes. And those 67, and our government had a COVID team that came down, which initially people felt harsh measures, but it bore fruit because we had only a total of 3,000 infected people, and we've had only 12 deaths up to now. So Sri Lanka relatively has performed reasonably well with the COVID situation, but our airport still remains closed. And there's still uncertainty as to when they will open the airport because the government has an obligation of repatriating a further 55,000 Sri Lankans stranded overseas, mostly our migrant workers in the Gulf and Middle Eastern countries. So that obligation to bring them first before they can open the airport is paramount where the government is concerned. So we in Sri Lanka still cannot ascertain when the airport would open, when tourists could come in, and when people could fly out. But despite all this, we are having a lot of dialogue amongst the health authorities, the tourism authorities, and the COVID team, and of course the civil aviation authorities. And I guess sooner than later this will happen, because Sri Lanka as a nation, our top 3 revenue generators have been the migrant workers, the people who go Middle East and any country that they go to, the revenues generated from that. Number 2 has been tourism. Number 3 has been our garment industry, and all 3 have been affected. Migrant workers and tourism is 0 revenue for the government right now. And the garment industry has scaled down a lot. They are not working at the full orders that they had previously, and they have scaled down by about 30–40%. So talking about, I got 2 slides, wanted to make it brief. So what we need to be prepared for is the quarantine laws of each country. For example, Sri Lanka has fared well. We will open our airport, but where could we fly to? So a lot of things are interrelated as to what the quarantine rules and every country would be. And as someone mentioned earlier, nobody wants to go to a country and face 14 days quarantine if they want to go on holiday or on business. So a lot of things will depend on all of those factors. And then also how many airlines are prepared to fly, what would their frequencies be? I mean, for example, you take Qantas, who have parked all their aircrafts in a desert somewhere, and they don't intend flying till sometime next year. Into Sri Lanka right now, we have 3 airlines that fly in: Qatar Airways, Emirates, and Etihad, but limited flights a week, like twice a week, thrice a week. But they're flying empty just to take passengers out. The few passengers do come in that can come in have to get special permission from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then the Civil Aviation Authority is informed, and they in turn will inform the airline if that is okay to board. But that's few and far between. But there is opportunity for travel agents in Sri Lanka where there's a lot of repatriation flights taking place. Majority of them is where the national carrier itself is doing it direct with our different high commissions in the countries. But there are a few that some of the legacy carriers also have operated. So there have been opportunities for a few of our agents in that way. Our tourism authorities have been shifting the goalposts about how to address tourists when they do come in, the PCR tests and all that kind of thing, and that keeps shifting, and it's very fluid at the moment. One of the things that our passengers and our customers will be conscious of will be the safety and hygiene measures that each of these airlines would provide them. And I think they will consciously be wanting information on that before they make decisions to travel. And going hand in glove with that is, how will the pricing be when airlines do fly? I mean, I'm not talking only about Sri Lanka. I'm talking about all of us who are listening in. How will the pricing be? Will they still want social distancing? I know Sri Lankan Airlines were not having social distancing when they were operating the repatriation flights and trying to bring our people back. They sold as many seats as they could. We will have to live with delays at the airports, check-ins, and there will be, and our airport is being, there's a stage 2 that's happening to our airport, but until then, our airport has been fairly congested. So that's going to add to a lot of things. What we feel in Sri Lanka is that initially business travel will definitely reduce because people have got used to what we are doing right now, having virtual meetings, and people want to risk their employees traveling. Employees' families will put pressure on them about not traveling. So you will find that, you know, everything is not going to be hunky-dory as the airports open up. Leisure travel, yes, there will be, I mean, there are the bunch of the young people, the millennials who got tired being constrained, and there will be people who want to go, but it's not going to be in the numbers that we were used to. But leisure travel will be more positive than the business travel side of things. And of course, essential travel will take place, like even with the limited flights that we have out of Sri Lanka, the students, the immigrants, the seamen, that kind of travel will be ongoing. There's also an opportunity for travel agents to scale up. I think Agnes also touched on it, where okay, I'll just go according to my slides. We have opportunities right now to do a lot of things that will be beneficial to us, although everything looks doom and gloom. And we have an opportunity to actually reduce our costs. And how do we reduce our costs? Because we got used to working from home. So, and that working from home pattern can continue, because as we will all know, most of us, all we need is a laptop. And of course, our finance department people might have to report into work, but people can go into work in a staggered manner. And a golden opportunity for travel agents to do away with credit. I mean, I say do away with credit, you can't do it 100%, but you can reduce your finance charges and costs by actually getting our customers now to shift and adjust to the way things have happened post-COVID. And it's an opportunity for intelligent agents right now. I mean, if you want to continue the way you did business previously, you're just digging your grave. So it's up to each one. Each one has the freedom to do how they want to do, but collectively, I think, and everyone has got hurt sufficiently to realize they need to make a change. A golden opportunity for clients to depend on travel agents and not move away a little bit from the OTAs. And why do I say that? Because today, a person who's traveling is always conscious of the fact, you know, how safe it is. And so, as mentioned earlier, it's a time for us to be training our staff and getting them completely and comprehensively knowledgeable in the new norms of what is expected. When you go to the airport, you have to have your PCR test, your self-declaration, traveling airline to airline, say Emirates from Colombo, Dubai, London, will be different to flying Colombo, Dubai on Emirates and then teaming up with British Airways when you use multiple airlines. And if our staff are 100% equipped with knowledge and trained, and that is the time that the passenger will want to rely on a travel agent. So it is going to be, the way I see it is, it's going to be a mix of the brick and mortar and the online. So I think travel agents need to adjust just as much as we've been taking a hit all these months. We need to step up our online abilities and mix it up with the brick and mortar also, so that the client knows that he can talk to a travel consultant at any time to get advice, and he is not stranded like, and this is what happened to a lot of people when COVID hit. A lot of people were stranded all over, and we still have loads of people from each country stuck in various countries. Some of them who bought tickets online have no one to turn to. So, and the way we perceive it is that online sales would reduce. Also the fear of credit card safety these days, and with the amount of scamming that takes place. So these are things that we can take advantage of and actually do a lot of promotions in that area about why you need to be using a travel agent today and less reliance on online due to what happened. Yes, what happened was totally unpredictable and unprecedented, but it's a good opportunity for all of us, and that's where we are heading to as a nation here in Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you for being briefer than the other two. I think we've just had...
I was looking at my clock while talking.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would once again appeal to our speakers. The first three speakers, it took us 50 minutes, whereas we were to only take about 25 minutes. So I would appreciate our speakers being very brief in order for us to leave some time for interaction. Our next speaker is from India, Jyoti Mayala, President of Travel Agents Association. Jyothi, could you please make her the co-host because she's uploading her screen herself. Jyoti, can you please come in?
Yeah, hi.
Yes.
Thank you, Sunil. Namaskar, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here. I cannot see the share button.
The share button is right below.
Yeah, I can't see it.
It's in green color,
Yeah.
arrow upward.
Can you see
It's
it
not
now?
coming on my screen. No, I can't see it on my screen.
You should.
Just put your finger on the screen and then you will find a bottom popping up.
Mm-hmm. It's not coming. I can't see the share screen on my.
Right now, everybody can share the screen. I just open it to any speaker.
Jyoti, can you come in next and then mail me your presentation? I can put it up for you.
Oh, here it is. It's coming.
Yeah, because I can't see my share.
No, don't worry. Just mail it to me and you can come in as a next speaker. We will take up another speaker in the interim.
Okay, sure. Please go ahead.
Thank you. You can mail me your presentation and I'll put it up for you. Inviting Richie from Philippines, the president of PTAA, Richie Tuano. Welcome, Richie. Richie, do I put up your presentation or you'll run it yourself?
I've opened the option to share screen to all participants, so everyone can see it. But on the other hand, please be cautious because by mistake, you can share something that you don't want us to see.
Okay. Richie, can you please come in? Your screen is up already.
Unmute yourself and start talk. Your microphone is open now, Richie.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, very much.
Play
All right.
presentation.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Double click number one. Double click number one slide.
Is my screen, is my presentation on screen?
Yeah, you have shared it yourself or you want me to put up my presentation that you've sent to me?
No, just want give me okay. All right. I'm good. Good evening, everyone. Good evening from the Philippines. Good afternoon and good morning to the rest of the world. To all my fellow United Federation of Travel Agents Association members. It is my pleasure to share with you some of the recent developments in our country. In the 1980s, the British band Spandau Ballet had a hit with a chorus that goes, "Now you're living in a lifeline. We're moving in the lifeline. We're walking in the lifeline." That basically sums up the situation for Philippine travel agencies. We are literally living, moving, and walking. And I add participating lifeline support for us to gain some semblance of financial liquidity. Lifeline is a word you will hear often during this whole presentation. The 1980s was basically a tough time.
We don't see the presentation.
Just 1 second.
Richie, you could stop screen sharing. I will do it for you.
Hang on.
Please do stop.
Okay. I couldn't stop it from my side.
I did it.
Jyothi,
I did it. I stopped it. Sunil, go ahead and upload the presentation.
Yeah, I've done it already. Go ahead, Richie.
Yeah, just go to the second slide.
Okay.
So as I was saying, the 1980s was basically a tough time for the Philippine tourism, with a devalued peso, upheavals, and political unrest. A change in government through people power failed to stop military adventurism, and it was no match for multiple natural calamities. One could argue that we are again in the midst of such crisis, but now due to a different reason. A return to vibrancy, where the travel industry is still not yet in sight. Next slide. The Philippine travel industry as a whole has 2,031 accredited travel agencies by the Department of Tourism, with 1,828 of them belonging to the micro enterprise and 203 being small enterprises. We in the Philippine Travel Agencies Association have 605 members. This is the highest in the 40-year history of our association, and comprises a wide section of our country's travel industry stakeholders. Within our membership are 439 travel agencies, mostly accredited by the DOT. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, 419 of them are temporarily closed, with the remaining 20 partially open to service clients with essential travel needs, particularly the overseas Filipino workers and the seafarers. Our allied members, including hotels, resorts, and theme parks, have also shut down operations since the lockdown was imposed by the Philippine government last March 15. Some hotels have resumed partial operations, either as quarantine facilities of returning overseas Filipinos or those in destinations that have become relatively COVID-19 free. It is the same situation for airlines, which are mostly conducting sweeper flights for OFWs, stranded tourists, and locally stranded individuals. By middle of next year, that would be by middle of next month, that would be 6 months of virtual inactivity for our country's travel industry and its stakeholders. There is fortitude among our members to move forward, and we are very much appreciative of the government's extending us a lifeline, though through a stimulus package which was approved by the bicameral committee 2 weeks ago. Within its provisions, $1.1 billion of assistance, or again, as I might say, lifeline for the travel industry. There is $200 million that is exclusive to the travel industry to the DOT, where 120 million will be earmarked for soft loans for micro, small, and medium enterprises. $60 million for displaced tourism workers, and remaining $20 million for tourism infrastructure project courtesy of the Department of Public Works and Highways. Then there is a combined $900 million from the government-owned Land Bank of the Philippines and the Development Bank of the Philippines for low-interest loans, which will be made available for tourism services. However, this has to be shared with those that provide air, land, and sea transportation, retail trade, and accommodation. Another important of the provision is the subsidized domestic package tours necessary to mitigate the economic effects of COVID-19 on the travel industry. We are waiting for this to be signed into law and for the drafting of its implementing rules and guidelines. Another source of indirect lifeline for travel agencies is if we can get a full refund from airlines on canceled flights since air travel was restricted by the Philippine government in March. That translates to an estimated $18.8 million which will be refunded back to our respective clients. We do hope this can be expedited as the soonest possible time. These airlines have been long-time partners of Philippine travel agencies. Even as we fully understand the impact of COVID-19 on airline operations, They are also to understand that they have more financial flexibility as compared to travel agencies in our country, which are mostly belonging to the MSMEs. Again, we say Philippine travel agencies need a lifeline. That lifeline is even more in need and is clearly illustrated in the result of the recent survey conducted by the DOT in partnership with the Asian Institute of Management. The survey has respondents from 81 Philippine provinces. Dubbed as the Philippine Travel Survey, it is pictured a long drawn-out battle to be back to pre-COVID-19, most especially for travel agencies. In the survey, 22.8% are willing to travel domestically only after a vaccine is found. If travel restrictions are lifted, 8.7% within the same month, 19.4% within 2 months or 4 months, and 19.9% within 6 months. Internationally, the numbers are even more staggering, with 38.3% only willing to travel abroad after a vaccine is found, 16.5% within 6 months after travel restrictions are lifted, 6.4% within 2 to 4 months, and 2.7% within a month. Next slide, please. Here are more numbers which, even if they are overwhelming, they are already expected. 84% of Filipinos will only go back to pre-COVID-19 lifestyle if treatment is available. 77% said that they get vaccinated, and 73% when there are no new cases. And if the World Health Organization is accurate, 2 billion doses of safe and effective vaccine against the virus from its COVAX global vaccine facility would only become available by the end of 2021. Travel agencies really do need a lifeline. Next slide. Furthermore, the survey revealed that while domestic travel is the first preferred choice by Filipinos once they deem it safe to travel again, it does not show that much promise for travel agencies. Given a choice, their top 3 preferences are travels to beaches, road trips, and staycations. Next slides. Then there is this elephant in the room, the Philippine economy, which posted its sharpest contraction since 1985, shrinking by 16.5% in the second quarter, towing along with its unemployment rate of 17.7%. Next slide. Now, this is clearly showed in the survey when 74% indicated a decline in their income and 44% would want to reduce their travel budget. Then there is the 42% who said that they will unlikely purchase travel deals and promotions at this time, and only 6% are willing to go to travel fairs. Next slide. This put to doubt our annual travel tour Expo, which we hold annually during the second week of February. How can we interest travel agencies to participate? What incentive do the other tourism stakeholders have in participating? And more importantly, how can we provide confidence to the public that it's safe to go to the Expo and travel? The outlook is daunting, but there is some semblance of normalcy that we see. Lifelines. Next slide, please. Travel bubbles have been created between provinces that have low cases of COVID-19. Boracay might be open to foreign guests by October, with an international travel bubble initially being created between the Philippines and Korea. Palawan and Bohol, 2 high-volume tourist destinations, have been created separate travel bubbles and are set to open later this year. The more importantly, 32 domestic airports are now back in operations. With a lifeline, Philippine travel agencies can again operate, adapt, and see new ways on how to navigate this pandemic. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richie. Highlighting the aspect that there's more structuring towards domestic travel, and that's what your survey confirms. And It's been a good presentation from you. I must mention to the audience that Richie's been very active on the Committee of Risk Management with IATA, and he, along with Numan, have made major contributions, and you will hear more about it from us possibly a week or 2 weeks later. Thank you very much, Richie. Jyoti, your presentation is now ready, and we are ready to help you get on to your presentation.
Yeah, sure. It's there?
Yeah, there it is. It's coming up for you.
Can we do it as a slideshow?
Here it is.
No, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay. It was there earlier, now I can't see it.
You can't see it? It's there. I can see it on both my screens.
Okay, I could see it earlier, now I can't see it.
Okay, you keep speaking. I'll play it for you.
Okay, great. Let me just. Can everyone see it? I don't know. I can't see it.
Jyothi, can you see the screen? Jyothi?
Yes, I can see the screen. Everybody can see the screen.
You can see the screen. I can see the screen. Jyoti, all screens are visible with your screen. It says restructuring travel. Jyothi, can you unmute Jay Bhatia?
Okay, now I can see it. Thank you.
Oh, great. Great.
Okay, I've come back. Yeah, okay. Namaskar, everybody. That's what I think COVID-19 has taught us, that we now need to greet everyone with folded hands. So I'm Jyoti Mayala, the president of the Travel Agents Association of India. Well, we have been really, pandemically, we are actually devastated, I think. And how we are going to move forward is going to be a huge challenge. And that is what the challenge is going to teach us. And not, as I know we are short of time, I'll quickly run through our presentation. We've had innumerable challenges, and the challenges started even before the lockdown, which was on 23rd of March. Of course, the refunds and cancellations started coming into place, which the entire world is talking about. And I heard other speakers say about it too. We had the great issue of getting the refunds done through the GDS, and the RA link was asked us, we were asked to put through direct to the airline for refunds. There was a total lockdown. There was no business. There was no cure in sight, and the borders closed, and they just overnight closed, and we couldn't travel. So starting from there, our first representation was to the APJC and IATA. And, we had a joint meeting with them, and we started putting our concerns right there, which was regarding the airlines defaulting. That was our first concern, because if they can't refund the money, how do they really protect our money, which is lying with them? We started appealing immediately to the Ministry of Civil Aviation, to other government bodies, which are very strong in India, and a body called Niti Aayog, which is the Planning Commission of India. We also did to the Commerce Ministry. We've done to Ministry of Tourism and other airlines. And we started a lot of member interactions, trying to educate them and see, because we just suddenly felt that they needed a lot of hand holding, and it was very, very important. And we started meeting each airline independently via the Zoom or the other video conferencing ways. And we actually got all of them together. And it has actually been recorded in history that TAI made a great impact on Ministry of Aviation. And you'll be very pleased to know that the first time it was Minister of Tourism actually joined me with a meeting to go and meet the Minister of Aviation, so that we could have a dialogue together and discuss the future of tourism and travel in India. Because I think it was a huge challenge. Of course, like I said, with members interaction, we did a lot of webinars, and we tried to educate our members where airlines were concerned, where taxes were concerned, where technology was concerned, with medical insight too. And we started having more and more of these webinars to keep in constant touch with our members. Another thing which actually came out from this challenge was that the media, we played a very, very strong role with media, because I think that was a link which was very weak in India, where usually media doesn't cover aviation especially. They do cover tourism, but aviation is very rarely covered. And we became a very strong connect with the media, actually to say that we have actually been covered by the news dailies and the television and electronic media, social media. We started our own social media brands, and I think that we have something like 600 odd articles now in the newspapers, in the dailies today. So I think that went because we created a huge fighting hype for the government. So when a pandemic or any calamity occurs, travel and tourism is the first to be hit and last to recover. We all know that. But the pandemic situation, what we saw, the main connect with our members was that the morale became down. They started looking at a very dark, gloomy future. We saw our membership and industry grappling with uncertainties. And they really didn't know how to react because there was a huge cash crunch and there were huge no business, of course. So the suggestions that we gave to the government were too many because we also have a federation of associations here called FAITH, where Sunil was the vice chairperson again. I took over from him. And we actually, for the first time, all associations, the associations that really matter in India, because we have around 97 associations in India, but the 10 which are very, very valuable to the government also, and we think have a strong voice. We started giving a joint document to the government, asking for moratoriums, for reliefs, for rebates, and for a lot of other things. So our main concerns, of course, with the aviation industry was that we wanted financial security for all airlines, and I've been hearing that with other speakers too, which is very, very, very important. We've had joint working groups. We need a very strong joint working group with the ministry, the airline, and the IATA, so that we can all come to a consensus to move forward. We've asked for insurance on tickets or insolvency. You can call it anything actually, but we need to actually put this in practice because we in India really can't see another Jet Airways happening or another Kingfisher happening and our money again going down because we feel that there is no actually a connection between IATA and the travel agents. The IATA agent speaks, the IATA speaks more from the side purview of the airlines. And I don't know why we are called as IATA members if they do not really consider us, because I think that is something which really needs to be taken up on a great priority, because I think as much as the airlines are a part of IATA, so are the agents. Our travel agents credit card, which with great difficulty, it was approved at PAPJC, and Sunil played a very important role and UFTAA played a very important role in that. It still hasn't come into consideration by the airlines because we literally have to beg each and every airline separately to get into that. Commission to travel agents, of course. The reason we came out with commission to travel agents were because India has been capped where fares are concerned. And we've had a very huge challenge, especially with the Vande Bharat mission, where Air India started operating repatriation flights. We were told not to charge anything over and above the ticket. So how does one travel agent earn? So we thought that and even in the domestic fares, we saw that there was a capping of fares. So we started questioning the ministry that how can you cap a fare and not again give us commissions to survive on, because we were not allowed to charge any service charge. As a matter of fact, especially Air India, which is onto Vande Bharat mission, has gone against and has taken out the members who've been charging over and above the fare, and they have actually removed the capping of ticket stock from the GDSs. So that was our main reason, and we are just wanting it that it stays there so that we are protected at least by the 5% of commission which we want. GST has been an ongoing thing, which we again came into that we wanted a GST reseller model back, where we think we are the principals and we could sell. It's a principal to principal model or a reseller model, what you call it, so that we can absorb the GST, which is a tax on the tickets, and pass it on to our clients so that our money doesn't get stuck. GDS refunds, like everyone has been talking about, was a great issue. It still is an issue with some airlines, but we fought this with each and every airline separately. We wrote to IATA separately. And now a lot of airlines have started giving us refunds, especially the domestic airlines also. They were giving everything in a credit shell. We fought against the credit shells. And now And also for the groups, we have started getting some money, and our money has started coming into the low-cost airlines, of course, are paying back into the wallet, e-wallets, but we are looking at more flights. The repatriation flights were also initiated by us initially by talking to Air India, but the hindsight was that they started selling directly. The agents were not considered as partners, and they started selling directly, and we were not allowed to book. So it was a great struggle, where we had to literally put our opinion in front of MOCA, and not only MOCA, we went all the way to Niti Aayog, Commerce Ministry, and Air India to say that the agents be allowed to sell, because in these times when the times are so challenging, if we can't, we have always supported the airline industry, and if this time the airline industry doesn't support the agents to at least sell a few tickets, I don't think it's fair. So I thought that was giving the agents what is due to them. And with great difficulty, we got those, because what was happening with the VVM flights, that once the air bubble started, even all the other airlines started going directly to sell sell on their website, and we as agents were not allowed to sell. So it was a huge struggle, but yes, we got all the airlines back on our GDS. So that is something which our struggle really worked towards. So there is an interdependency of travel and tourism, which we feel, and one can't survive without the other, I feel, because they're all interrelated. So how do we create a demand was a thing we've been discussing with ministries. How we've got some special UDAN flights back into focus, and we've got 70 airports come into the UDAN flights under the umbrella of UDAN flights, and they are being now doing a private partnership with them, public-private partnership with them on that mode, so that everyone can bid for those, and new airports come in there, so we'll have more airports. We've requested for forward bookings, no cancellation policies to be coming into place, so that people could do forward bookings, because we are seeing why aren't the forward bookings happening, because people are very sentiment about their cash. It's a huge issue. They do not want to do any forward bookings. So because they know there's a cancellation policy to it, they may not get cash refunds back. So there are no forward bookings happening. And that is what we are emphasizing to the government, that all forward bookings cancellation policies should be changed with zero cancellation policies. Of course, waiver in taxes, we've given a document to the government to say there should be no taxes on any travel. Tourism can only come in when there are no taxes. We've asked for MICE incentives. We've asked for business incentives. We've asked for Indian companies to be incentivized and get a rebate if they can improve tourism. We've asked for moratoriums. We've asked for, the main concern is, of course, how we start traveling, and rapid testing is going to be playing a very, very big role, because RT-PCR is here to stay, and antibody testing is also here to stay. And this is going to be the new norm of tomorrow. So we felt that this is going to happen. So if there is a test happening at the airport, and it's a rapid testing way, so within 3 minutes you get your reports, so that you have no quarantine wherever you are traveling. Because I feels, and we feel together when we talk to each other, is that, it's a global pandemic. It's nothing that is related to India or one other country or two countries. It's a whole country has got running through the same challenges. So if I am safe in India, I'm as well as safe in Turkey or in America or in Gujarat. So if I have to travel, I should have these ease of travel also possible, so that we can start traveling more, the confidence is generated, and we can move out, as long as we are sure that we are covered with insurance, and as long as we are sure that we will get the medical aid in whichever country, state, or city I'm traveling to. So if this is looked after, then I don't think it should be a great struggle to actually push people to travel. But yes, we did also recommended a lot of helicopter services, because we feel that luxury travel is coming into play, especially where India is concerned. People have started domestic travel, but they're traveling very near to where they are living, so that they could do private charters, helicopter services, and travel in that format in smaller groups. So we have also requested, like I said, to incentivize travel and generate confidence. So another thing which we've told the government very loudly, which they have started doing, is advertisements, because we feel that everyone has got a different opinion, and the news that circulates on social media and WhatsApp is half the time not correct. It's like the Chinese whisper, which actually gets fragmented by the time it reaches the end customer. So the people are very, very, very not sure what the quarantine rules are, what the SOPs are, how can they travel, how can they be safe, how can the hygiene be maintained, what social distancing is, and what are the structures in place that if I travel to Istanbul, what it would be, if I travel to Syria, what into America, what is going to be. So I think all these things need to be started coming in forms of advertisements, which the government should give in, actually pay for it and take out in the dailies, on the TV, on whatever media they can, so that the right news is filtered down. And that would play a very, very important role to revive tourism and travel, of course. Another thing which we feel ties strength is resilience. Can I have the next slide, please, Sunil? I think resilience is ties strength, and skilling, educating, and upskilling is a thing we've always given a lot of emphasis on, and we are continuing to do that, and we are educating our members in every format that we can, on every topic we can. Like I told you, it could be even medical, even rapid testing. We've had a thing, we've had technology, we have had everything we could ever think of that this industry would be needing to actually restart the business. Technology, of course, is going to be playing a very big role, and we are already talking to people that we could actually share. Of course, technology, we already have a platform for Thai members. We are just seeing that it delivers better, and we are working towards it, but it's going to be playing a very important role, because that's what we are doing right now. And this is here to stay, because like I said, the new norms are going to stay. And virtual travel and tourism information is going to be very important, again, where travel is concerned, because wherever we travel, I think we would like to know, is the place safe, and does it have all the procedures and right procedures in place so that I can travel, or my consumer can travel, or my client can travel. So we've also requested the government, the Ministry of Tourism is working on a virtual platform. They're actually planning a website which will have virtual videos for all the cities of India, all the nooks and corners of the country where we can cover, where the person who's traveling could see beforehand that where is he going and what the effects are there and how he could be safe there. So I think this is something which we can take internationally also, so that there is more confidence in a traveler. Of course, visa policies, there needs to be standardization on all bilateral bases, so that there is nothing that curtails our travel and tourism to grow. Human resource management is going to be playing a very big role, because we need to see how we can manage our staff, because we've seen huge unemployment, and we are expecting much more to happen once offices open, because they haven't really opened. We are still into a semi-lockdown. We haven't seen people visiting the offices, so that anyone who gets a call from a HR department also is very scared right now. So it's going to be a huge challenge, and it's going to be having an effect on the economy of the country, besides everything else. Cash protection, we've been saying it again and again and again, that we want credit cards to be used everywhere. We want the service charges to be reduced, so that there is more of credit and in the credit forms, and cash does get protected, because right now the biggest challenge is cash. There's a huge cash crunch, and we really don't know how we are going to overcome this, because we are one country who hasn't got any relief or rebate from the government, though our fight is on. They are still saying that once it starts opening, they would be giving something to us. We have seen a few moratoriums. We have seen a few structured in, because we now come under the medium and small scale enterprises. They've included us there. So there are some protections and moratoriums in those formats, but a direct any money or any rebates or any reliefs have not been offered in any form to us. Of course, motivation and unity is a huge thing amongst our members, because most of the members we've seen in these difficult times have started moving. They've started going to cloud kitchen, they've started going to medical equipment, and they've started changing the way of making money or whatever way. We would like all of them, whoever has even left us, to come back, because I think travel is a very passionate business you can go ahead with. I think people who are all linked with travel are very passionate about their industry, about the way they make money also. It is travel which is in their blood, which has been there for years. And I think they will come back to travel. So like we say, crisis brings opportunities, and this is our second chance. And the second chance, I think, is what we need to do. We need to restructure, not only to check our cash flows, we also need to, because when we saw the refunds becoming a menace and people not getting refunds, we actually took out a mailer for all our members to say, please only pay when you get the refund. So that played a very motivational thing because we were guiding our members to say how to restructure themselves. We've asked them, Sunil, can I have the next slide, please? We ask them to look into how they can reinvent the whole business, how they can reboot their own business, how they can cooperate with each other. Because I think it's not time to, it's time where we share our resources, we share our strengths, we share whatever our USP is. And we've been doing that continuously with our members. I think the amount of meetings we've had in this 6 months is been just, I mean, we've never had such meetings as that. And collaborate, of course, is the last thing which we really need, because that's the only way. Once we collaborate with the government, we collaborate with all our stakeholders, we collaborate with all our members, we collaborate with all the airlines, is only how we will be able to sustain and actually start making some money and make the tourism grow. Because it's only all these things start coming into the right perspective, can it happen? You know, everyone says we are back to where we started. I hear that every day from the old timers, especially in this industry, that we are right down on ground level. We are there, rock bottom. So let us turn this in opportunity to restart and rebuild on a strong foundation. I'd like to thank UFTAA once again, and I would like to request you to please take our viewpoints, and especially for the financial side and bank guarantees from the airline side, and our relationship with ITA, because people have started questioning in India, is ITA relevant or not relevant? Because if ITA is not relevant, maybe we are not wanting to be there. You know, so they are the structures which we need UFTAA to take this forward on a very strong platform. And of course, like I said, our protection of money is the biggest, largest thing doing as UFTAA. Of course, with our country, we are also asking them to come up with an industry status, which we are lacking in India, and we are asking for that. Thank you so much. I hope I've fitted in my time. Sunil?
Good. Sunil, can you hear us?
Yeah, I don't know if Sunil can hear us.
Thank you very much, Jyoti. You've been very exhaustive presentation, and we are now.
You can share the screen by the one. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I now invite. Let's move from India to Tanzania, and now we have with us Mustafa Katau, the president of the Tanzanian Association. Mustafa, on your behalf, I shall share your screen and request you to be ready with your presentation. Over to you, Mustafa. Mustafa, are you ready? Jyothi, can you make him a co-host, or can you unmute him? Mustafa.
Is he with the video or without the video?
I'm trying to look at his
You are co-hosting, so you can, let's go to the participant.
Ashok, can you connect to Mustafa on WhatsApp?
I don't see him in the list now.
Yeah, maybe he's getting relogged. So let's move on to the next speaker. We have the next speaker. We'll take Mustafa once he comes back. Susan from Nigeria. You don't have a presentation and you're only a speaker. So go ahead, Susan. It's all yours. Susan, we are unmuting you and please do join us. Susan is the president of Nigeria. And as I mentioned, she's got a lot of members in her association, more than 5,000 of them. Susan, are you there? Susan, I can see her, of course.
I'm trying to locate her. Susan, S-U. Susan, now you can speak. And you are also a co-host.
Okay.
All right.
Great, Susan.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, Susan.
Okay. All right.
So as well. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. The time was short, and my own slide would have been very long, and it probably would make me be rushing over things. So I just had to pick some few points and just talk briefly on it. Thank you to Sunil. Thank you so much. Yosil, thank you very much. And every other president of associations that have spoken on what has been happening in your country so far. It's actually been very, very enlightening for me. And it's good that this forum was put together, which is an opportunity for us to learn from each other what is happening in other countries, and we'll see how we can embrace the same and push things to happen for us. So thank you very much. I want to start by on the presentation done by Yosil, because I want to start with that because that was supposed to be something like a request from NANTA to UFTAA, but Yosil already talked about it in his presentation about the structure of IATA being questionable and that the need for new agreement to be signed globally. That's actually a concern for us, and it's something that NANTA, we in Nigeria want to put to UFTAA and encourage UFTAA to see if we can get that done for us. I remember the last UFTAA meeting that I attended, and we were advised, I think Yosil was the one that advised us that, you know what, that we all have to go back to our local IATA and work out what works for each person. And it made us come back and we started engaging our local IATA, and we're able to get quite some number of things done for us. Not all, but we're able to come to some form of compromise. Nigeria, we really didn't have issues with payments during the lockdown. It was just a very few people. It wasn't a significant number, so we're able to tackle that and resolve it very well. Thank you. Thanks to the TAC, assisted those few travel agents in that. And the issue of refunds too, I'm happy to say that has been sorted out too in our market. It was a gradual process, but we eventually got there. And there was a lot of deficits. There was a lot of, since sales was not going on and members had refunds in the system, and at the time we were worried, how are we going to get our money back in the system? So for us here, we're able to also negotiate with IATA and I'm happy to say they've been paying our members. I mean, every negative balances in the system have been paid and is still being paid. And we are still in talks and negotiation with IATA. So thank you, UFTA, for what you're doing. For me, in any period of difficulty generally, like what COVID-19 has presented to all of us, I personally always believe that if one looks closely, there's always an opportunity in every disadvantage. There's always an advantage in every disadvantage. And that is what we in NANTA in Nigeria decided to take a look at. We knew the problem we're faced with. We sat down and we just advised ourselves, hey, you know what? There's no point crying over spilled milk. What can we do out of this very bad situation so we can still come out better and more professional travel agents post-COVID? And this made us begin to harness the opportunities in the COVID-19. One for sure, we started looking inwards. I mean, if we know Nigerian population, I mean, we are almost 200 million population, and the population of Nigerians that travel out of the country is just about 10%. So we have the 90% that we can sell Nigeria to. So we started a challenge, what we call the tourism challenge, because our airport is still not open yet, but we are believing that by this Saturday we will be open. But pending that time, we decided to begin to we championed a campaign of Nigerians traveling within Nigeria. As in, we have to make some form of income. Even when the airports are open, it's obvious we might not have the traffic we usually have.
Susan.
Yes, Susan, her picture.
I think the
freeze.
system has hung up.
Mustafa is now also co-hosting, and he can share his presentation. And
yeah, I will be sharing his presentation for him.
Sorry?
Susan was about to conclude. Susan was about to conclude, and
yeah, but she lost the connection.
She lost the connection. We'll just give her a minute so that she can come back and conclude. She was about to conclude. So. Susan, are you there? I think the system hung up. So, okay, we'll take her. Mustafa, you are ready, right? Mustafa, I'm sharing your screen, and you could start off.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good evening, everybody. Greetings from Tanzania. I'll be very brief, Mr. President, and we'll go straight to my slides. Can we go to the second slide? Tanzania has been different country compared to all in the world of what was going on. There was apparently no lockdown in Tanzania. Our domestic flights were operating, although we closed the air for international flights from April and May, only for 1 month, and we reopened our borders for international flights. Basically, in April, May, June, what has happened was 90% of our businesses, travel agents' business, our members' business was down, and 99% of our agents and tour operators had hotels and their offices closed, and most of them were working from home. From 1st of July, from 1st of June, actually, we had Ethiopian Airlines start their flights, and most of our members have started reopening their operations in phases after working remotely in the last 3 months, April, May, and June. We have reopened in July onwards, and the government has taken strict measure, introduced the standard operating procedures for tourism, and with a view of enhancing domestic tourism, where we had special rates for domestic tourism between East African states. However, can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so Tanzania is safe for tourism. At the moment, we just received a safe stamp travel from the World Tourism Council in August, where I attended the inauguration of this safe stamp. International flights have started with Ethiopian Airlines, KLM, Qatar Airways, Emirates, Fly Dubai, Egypt Air, Swiss International are all operating. But the challenge is that we have very, very limited destinations to fly to. Tanzanians are not in the white list for going to EU. The quarantine measures imposed by UK also have a problem affecting Tanzanians to travel. However, we have seen opening of Turkish Airlines, so people are traveling now to Turkey, people are traveling to Dubai, and we hope that things will improve. Our estimation is that things should go to normal pre-COVID levels in the first or second quarter of 2021. As far as Lesotho is concerned, we have been having every fortnight Zoom meetings with all our members, so that we've been briefing them of what is happening in the market and encouraging our members to take actions and spend this time to reevaluate the business strategies, as well as train the staff. Tanzania is safe. We are a very blessed country with the efforts made by our government and led by our President John Pombe Magufuli. We have been blessed that despite the government not giving out the statistics from end of April, we have seen a robust gathering of people at sports events which have started, attending mosques and churches, of course, with the necessary precautions in place, especially using washing of hands, hand sanitizers, and using masks as much as possible. We hope and expect that things will open up and air travel will improve. But we are still, overall, the market is only trading at about 20%. And amongst our 42 members, that's very, very low compared to 2019 figures. Can you go to the next slide, please? So as I've said earlier, Ethiopian Airlines have been supporting Tanzania with the resumption of scheduled flight. They're flying daily. Qatar Airways flying daily. So Tanzanians are eager to travel, and we hope that with the Indian subcontinent hopefully opening by next month or early October, and Far East, we expect more growth and robust travel. Having said that, but a lot of people have in the travel industry have been affected by the businesses. A lot of staff have been sent on extended unpaid leave, and that has really put a jolt into the travel market. The last on the list is that the WTTC safety stamp endorsement, which was granted to Tanzania, means we have now started seeing tourists coming back into Tanzania, and all safety protocols are observed. We hope that tourism will pick up in the last quarter of this year. And as I said earlier, travel industry will take time, and we hope to be able to be in the 2019 level from the second quarter of 2021 onwards. That's all, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day from Tanzania, and we say karibu sana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. So everybody seems to be saying that we have to wait for the second quarter of 2021 for us to see our business getting back to some kind of normalcy, though it may not be 100% of that normalcy. Mustafa, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry that we are going a little much beyond our schedule, but the enthusiasm with so many speakers ready to make presentations gives us a good opportunity for us to allow them to do those presentations. We still have a of attendees, 130 of them today as of now. And now from Belgium, we have Koen van den Go. So Koen has been also active with our PAPGGC meetings. He's attended some of them. And Koen, would you please come in, and Jyothi is going to unmute you and allow you to speak. And he would be giving us a European perspective. Over to you, Koen.
Okay, can everybody hear me now?
Yes, very clearly.
Perfect. So just giving you briefly the situation Belgium and Europe. So we are in lockdown since March. On June 15, the European Commission insisted that borders would be opened again, meaning that within Europe one could travel freely. Unfortunately, this did not happen because every member state introduced their own color codes. And basically where we had a small revival as from June 15, beginning of July, all sales stopped again. Travel stopped again dramatically or reduced dramatically due to this country per country approach. And of course, in Europe, we have this package travel directive, which has an important impact on the cash flow of the businesses, because this package travel directive forces the business to reimburse guests within 14 days if travel cannot be executed due to whatever reason. So that's quite important with a huge cash impact. Looking at basically the global sales, I mean, today tourism is responsible for 7% of the worldwide rate, which is quite important. 20% of GDP in quite an important number of countries. The impact of the first 5 months, and this comes from really, let's say, in-depth queries, is that worldwide there's already a loss of $270 billion and a risk of 120 million jobs to disappear. So the impact is huge. Looking at what we see in Belgium, but this is quite similar in other countries in Europe, is that basically looking at this, we lost quite a substantial amount of sales. Normally, the impact phase booking is 12% and travel is, booking is 47% and travel is 12%. During the lockdown, which we had, normally the bookings are 16%, while travel is 26%. And then, of course, where we had hoped to have a restart, as from July, travel is 62%. Now, we have seen that that didn't work. You see here the months and everything which comes with it. Now, the reality is, which we had to do a new analysis, is that for the Belgian market, by the end of August, the business lost 4.4 billion euros, which means more than 60% of the turnover which has been lost. And we do not expect for the moment being that the business will pick up. So by December, end of this year, the business will have lost in Belgium 6.4 billion euros, or almost 90% of the total business, which is huge. Now, also within this query, about 42% of the companies said that they will file for bankruptcy if the situation does not change drastically by the end of this year, which is quite enormous. The airlines are now finally, slowly but steadily starting to reimburse. And they're doing that based on the governmental support which they have received from the different governments within Europe. But due to the fact that they waited so long, and due to the fact that the business has to reimburse their customers within 14 days, the pressure on cash was huge on the businesses. So I think it's important to bear in mind that basically IATA breached its own rules and resolutions, that's one thing. And that the block of reimbursement during the first 5 to 6 months of the crisis caused a great financial impact on travel agents and travel organizers. Now, what have we done as associations together with the Belgian government? We have set up a Corona voucher, and it has been done throughout Europe as well, be it with different approaches, but basically in all European countries, there was a voucher system in order to prevent a cash drain in the sector. There is, from most of the countries, there's unemployment benefits now today, where basically the cost of the personnel is reduced for the businesses to a minimum, and it's supported by the government. And there's quite a number of nuisance premiums, which are also given. Now, together with our French partners, we have succeeded in ensuring about 600 million for the Belgian travel business. With this voucher system, unemployment benefits, nuisance premiums and state guaranteed loans, etc., which will allow a substantial amount of the businesses to survive, but we still expect 30% of them to file for bankruptcy by the end of the year. The governmental restrictions are for the moment still there. This means that in Europe, basically only 16 countries are open for business. And there's only a limited number of countries where you can travel to outside of Europe. But bear in mind that this is really looked at country per country. So for Belgium, for example, only 6% of the countries are accessible today. There is a color scheme which has been set up, which basically brings us in a virtual lockdown again, because those colors are green, orange, and red. And if you're red, then you cannot travel. To give you an example, most of France and Spain, which is the most two important destinations for Europeans, basically, have been put into red mainly. There is today no European approach. Europe is basically not present, and every country is acting on its own with all results which we know today. Now we're looking at restart and reboosting. Basically, we've done some decent market research, and the best case scenario will be that the market would be recovering by 2024. Worst case would be 2027. So that is still 7 years from today before we will be at normal numbers and figures again. Where is the primary focus now? That's the reopening of the borders. For the beginning, inside Europe and outside Europe, because we can do whatever we want. As long as borders are closed and one cannot travel, we can try to do whatever we want. It's not going to work. Further support of the businesses will be needed, and there is some substantial budgets from Europe who are prepared in order to do so. But as the member states who have to introduce a dossier for that to get those amounts. Now, I will be quite honest to you, as Belgium has still no government, Belgium is not acting for the moment being, but other European countries are, so there will be some support on that level, with also strategic change of companies with focus on the European Green Deal and digitalization. What is also important is that the package travel directive on European level is completely adapted, because for the moment being, the risk lies only with travel agencies and organizers and not with the supply chain. Some colleagues have already said that UFTAA should really push for this financial security of the airlines. Well, I think it's indeed an absolute must. The European Parliament has followed VVR and UPAV with some proposals we have made, and they have really requested an insolvency by the by Europe, basically. And they have put this in a resolution, which they have now submitted to the Commission in order to work this out. With IATA, we are for the moment being, as our other European colleagues, negotiating on new financial criteria. Also talking about the remittance holding capacity, because this could be a problem towards the future. And we are strongly working on consumer confidence for the moment being, where we are working together with European consumer associations like BUG, and in Belgium, Testaankoop, which is consumer associations. That's it for me. I tried to be brief, and I hope you have a small insight on the situation in Belgium and a little bit larger in Europe. And thank you for attention.
I
Thank you
just
very much.
Sunil, before.
Thank you, Koen. You've been giving us a lot of analysis and looking at the worst case scenario of 2027 is indeed very scary. We hope it gets back to normal much earlier. And thank you for being giving us the European perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 more presentations to go. The next one's from Singapore, and from Singapore we go to Latin America.
Yes,
and from Latin America we go to China. Sorry.
Sunil, quick remarks to Koen's final words, which was very important with regards to IATA, remittance holding capacity and the financial criteria. I just, you know, we are marking it because it's an issue. They want to tighten it. They not want to you know, to relax conditions and guarantees. So just let us just highlight this issue that need to be tackled.
Yes, Jyothi. Thank you very much. We now move on to Charles from Singapore, Natas. From Natas, Singapore, Charles, are you ready? Jyothi, can you unmute him, please?
To unmute, sorry?
Charles.
Who?
Charles from Natas.
Here he is.
Who's doing a presentation on behalf of its president, Stephen Le.
Yeah. He's co-hosting now.
Charles.
Go ahead.
Yes, Charles.
Hi everybody, this is Charles. Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly, Charles.
Okay, great. Okay, let me go to my screen. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Yep. Okay, I'm stepping in for Stephen today to share a bit about Singapore. So let's just start with the timeline and the border reopenings that has happened for Singapore. So on the 8th of June, Singapore has started China Fast Lane. This is for essential business travel. So it started off with G2G travel, meaning government travel, only to the 6 cities of China: Shanghai, Tianjin, Chongqing, Guangdong, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang. Okay, so after that, we move on to the 10th of August, Singapore and Malaysia, as we have a very close relationship. We started the reciprocal green lane and the periodic commuting arrangement. So that allows some of the Malaysian workers that have long-term passes to come back to work, because our economy depends a lot on foreign labor. So that helps businesses. Okay, and then from 1st of September onwards, which is a recent announcement, travelers from Australia, of course excluding Victoria State, Brunei, Macau, mainland China, New Zealand, Republic of Korea, Taiwan, and Vietnam, they only have to serve a 7-day stay-home notice at their own place of residence. And of course, a COVID test will continue to be administered. Because for other countries, when they come in, it's 14 days stay home quarantine at a hotel that is decided by our government. Okay. So another news on the 1st of September was to allow general travel to happen for people that are coming in from Brunei and of course from New Zealand. The reason these 2 countries have started first is because certain of the practices that we do on the health checks and all this is similar. So we started with these 2 countries first. So that will also allow some travel for those students who are going back for their studies and who do not have a long distance learning option available. But of course, for all travelers, they are still have to adhere to the entry requirements imposed by each country. For example, New Zealand, if you're Singaporean and you arrive in New Zealand, you still have to stay 14 days, you still have to do a 14 days quarantine. Yep, I've shared on the Brunei and the New Zealand. So of course, travelers who have stayed in Brunei or New Zealand will need to apply for the air travel pass between 7 and 30 days before the intended date of entry into Singapore. Well, now let's come on to Singapore's readiness for inbound visitors. As you all know, Singapore is a small country. We don't have much domestic travel going on because Singapore is just Singapore. There's not, I mean, everywhere is drivable. I think one end of Singapore to the other end. I think you can drive there in like 1 hour or so. So what started off is the SG Clean campaign. This is the government effort to rally businesses and of course to make sure the businesses adhere to the safety measures and adhere to the audit checks before they are given this SG Clean certificate. So most of our hotels, our attractions, and even our retail malls have been awarded the SG Clean certification. So that is our promise to visitors that are coming to Singapore that is safe here in Singapore. So of course, we keep our subgroups to 5 person per subgroup, 1 meter safe distancing, wearing the mask, and of course our tours are only kept to 8 hours. So rigorous cleaning and hygiene standards according to the SG Clean are to be adhered, of course. And of course, we maintain all records of detailed tour itinerary. We're also coming out with this devices for visitors that come in so that we are able to track the movement in case there's any infection. We are able to trace any interactions that have happened. Okay, for the travel and tourism revival efforts, of course, the decline in international air travel due to the, COVID-19 has affected Singapore a lot. Singapore is a business hub in general. And for Singapore, I think the recovery will come in corporate travel before leisure travel actually happens. So we are a bit different from some other countries. So the efforts we are looking at is like how to reduce the 14-day stay-home quarantine, how to look at partner countries that also adhere to the same kind of standards that we have, so that we can increase the number of reciprocal green lanes for business travel, and then of course from there move on to the leisure travels, which would, of course the group travels I think will take a longer time, but maybe a smaller group or smaller family groups, that kind of travel can go on first. So of course, Singapore will gradually reopen our borders for our Singaporeans to conduct our activities overseas and to allow, of course, safe travel for foreigners. And with, of course, the necessary precautions and safeguards. As the global situation remains volatile, Singapore will update its border control measures based on the data assessment and depending on the daily infection rate. Currently, the numbers in Singapore has been kept pretty low. We do have a lot of foreign workers that work that stay in the dormitories, and that shows a big number. But all these are in controlled locations, and they are well taken care of and well provided for. We feel that the foreign workers that are in our country helping to build our economy is very important, and we try our best to give them the best medical care as well as provide them with all the resources that they require. So what the association is actually doing now is basically what we have done is we have been talking to our Singapore Tourism Board a lot. We have been engaged in a lot of the track meetings, the recovery efforts. Our air transport committee has been talking to Mayala, to Singapore Airlines, and of course looking at all the credit facilities and moving. We're trying, of course, to move more things onto the credit cards and reducing the financial risk to our members. NATAS in Singapore consists of 400 members. I think in the whole of Singapore, there's about maybe 1,000 plus travel agents. So we do represent all the major TAs in Singapore. So basically that is in a nutshell. What I forgot to share earlier on, sorry, pardon me. We went on to circuit breaker, which is similar to a lockdown in April. That was phase one, where everybody has to stay at home. No businesses, only essential businesses were conducted, which is like F&B, delivery service, that kind of healthcare services. So at the start of July, at the middle of July, we went into phase two, where a lot more businesses have started. 13 of the attractions in Singapore started. The hotels are allowed to take in staycation requests. And of course, travel agents, unfortunately, are not in the phase two bracket. We are in the phase three, which will come anywhere. It could be a month, it could be 2 months, it could be 3 months later before we all go back to work in the offices. But currently, definitely all of us are working from home. And of course, Singapore is looking at how fast we can be ready for all the travelers out there. And of course, we look to engage more with our regional partners, and of course with how we can work more together and see how we can get things started again. So in my own view, I think travel will not come back so fast. So what the association is also doing is we are working very closely with some of the media agencies to look at how we can do our NATAS fair, which is twice yearly fair, that we will actually do it maybe in the hybrid form, where we will do a virtual fair going on. And of course, next month, we're actually holding our own election and our own AGM virtually as well. So that's all that I have to share from Singapore. I hope that's informative to everybody. And thank you for listening to me. And take care, guys. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. It's good to see that Singapore's got its resorts getting opened, and you're doing much more tourism than many of us, and coming from a small one-city country, I think that's great progress that NATAS has made in Singapore. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you.
To NATAS. We now move on to Latin America. Latin America's, we put them towards the end because for them it's too early in the morning, and I think now it's about 6 o'clock or 6:30 for them in Mexico. And we have with us a team led by Mr. Armando. We've got people from Bermuda, we've got people from Mexico. We have Juan Carlos, who also wants to do a presentation on behalf of Actual. Armando, we are unmuting you right now, and we request you to please come in. Armando, Jyothi, can you please unmute Armando? And Armando, you can present your team to all of us. Sorry, Armando, it's got delayed, and thank you very much for waking up early to be a part of us. Armando, you still have over 100 people, so no worry at all. You have a good attendance. After Armando, we close the presentations with China. China comes next after Armando.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Please, after me, we have 3 speakers because Maria Brito, Juan Carlos Arnau, and Enrique, few presentations. Hi, everybody. I'm Armando Bojorquez from Mexico City.